From what I understand, this content creator is a total grifter. He's just using popular content on social media to get cheap views and clout on YouTube.
Yeah, it keeps going on about how 40K is bloke now. It's all a bunch of nonsense. Just trying to chase clout. Yeah, I bet he doesn't even have pronouns.
Yeah, no pronouns.
If you look at it, he's probably an incel chud. If his butt was a Chinese restaurant, I'd have the poo-poo platter.
Shut up, Carl.
So homeboy calls me a grifter. Says you just got into 40K. They're just jumping on the bandwagon because it's popular and the female custodes thing. I'm like, yeah, I've never heard of Warhammer before that ever. Oh man, like it's not just Warhammer, guys. I've got, Jesus Christ, I gotta paint all these. I got my Battle Sisters back there. We're into. Oh, we got Necromunda we're into. As soon as I finish this squad up, to run my army, I gotta have these Terminators. But check this out. This is what's really cool. Oh man, I got this giant pile. Oh, I'm breaking stuff. This giant pile of shame. So this is a Vulcan Heaston. He needs to be on the table. Like, I can't play without him because I won't be able to hold objectives. So he's going to be next. But I got all these totally kick-ass 3D printed Etsy. This is St. Celestine. I got, these are Mechanicus. I got these badass, these are the cool Terminators. The real ones, the ones I need. The big fire boys. I don't know if you can see there. See the hard hat there. I also got Adrex Agatone I need to do. This one's really cool. I wanted to pop this one out. This is actually a female Space Marine. I have a collection of these, and they're actually women Space Marines. They're like little sexualized, and they got the armor and everything. I just thought they were cool. Now, in this box, I have two Imperial Knights. I've got, oh my god, I got Gaskull in that one. I've got a whole bunch of the Lizard Tenders, the Salamanders with the big Fire Drakes. I've got a whole bunch of Elves in those. I've got, those boxes are unopened. I think those are Grey Knight Terminators. My son and I still have to put this together. We got Necrons. And on top of that, I've also got Gundams to do. I've got a ton of these. We also do like to do Gundams. We haven't done any in a while, but we got model kits up the butt. So, is this a grift? Is this something that I just ran out to the store and bought a bunch of, just to say, hey, I do it too? Does this look like a table of a grifter to you? Or does this look like someone who's obsessed? I've got 4 airbrushes. This one's cool. It's got the compressor built into it. It's pretty awesome. I forgot. I also do wood carving. This is a bust of one of the St. Bernards we had. Her name was Baby. She lived for almost 14 years, and I made that in memory of her. I do one of my guilty pleasures. I do like a nice, good pipe tobacco. I enjoy it very much. Although I haven't really been doing that much recently. Plus, it's super expensive. This is another thing I do. I'm gonna be that old man on the back porch whittling wood. They sell the pipe kits. It's just a block of like walnut or whatever the wood's made out of, real super hardwood, and you can carve them, do whatever you want with them. And that's I was making those for friends as gifts for a while. They take a long time though. It's I do a lot of artsy stuff. One of these days I'll do a stop animation or like a time compressed video of me illustrating. I'll do some of that for you guys. You can see them skills. I have to admit, when I I decided to start making these videos and focusing more on my gaming, my hobbies, the passions like that, I thought it was going to be a lot of fun. And because the short videos I had made where I showed my painting progress, which wasn't very good, and in the months since then I've gotten a lot better, like markedly improved. But I wasn't really showcasing that. The point is that all of the comments that I got were pretty positive. I didn't get any negative ones about showing, even when the crappy paint jobs, people were like, yeah, keep going, they're looking good. And I thought it was going to be a lot more fun when my son and I started actually playing again, like actually getting back into the tabletop. It was 9th edition, and I built my Salamander's army based on those rules. And then when 10th edition came out, I found that, like, oh man, I was like just 2 pieces away from having an army that wrecks. Like, I have a Salamander's army that I haven't played it yet, but if it runs the way I think it's going to run, we're gonna mess some people up. And it's a super simple army. It really is. So you got these 2 characters. Well, I'll get to that. I will get to that. The point of this video is, here's me. I'm showing me some painting. This guy called me a grifter. And of all the nasty comments that I've got about this DEI woke stuff, and I've gotten some really, really nasty ones. Most of them are just your typical, leftist popping in to call you names and say you're stupid and whatever. But this guy called me a grifter, and I don't know why. It just was like, what are you talking about? Like, you're calling me fake. Like, I don't. What are you? Okay. I'm stuttering, right? Now, most people, they would say something like that, and you can just look at their profile and you can see, oh, the guy's got 2 subscribers, never posted a video, it hasn't been on YouTube very long. You know that there's a guy that doesn't have any investment in the subject matter and is just popping in to just say something stupid. It's lifting. It happens all the time. Guys make alt accounts. You can tell, like, an account that's 2 months old and has no subscribers, and he's making comments about your squat form when you can do 3 times your body weight or something like that. You can usually tell it's either an alt account or it's just a troll. It's somebody that doesn't actually give a crap. They just want to say something to piss you off. And those are the ones I like to have fun with. When I looked at his account, I could see that he'd been around for a while, and it looked like he was attempting to be a gaming content channel, but he doesn't produce any of his own original work. He's just linked to other people's crap. So when he called me a grifter, it just got under my skin. I was like, and he left a couple of other comments on other threads, which meant, like, oh, you're here to, like, really stir up some crap. And I'm thinking, like, all right, I got you, grifter, huh? But then, I obviously it doesn't matter, and I'm really not that upset about it. I'm kind of over it now, but I just wanted your guys' opinions. Like, what do you consider a grifter? Like, okay, so to be fair, I had never really posted much Warhammer content, and I saw the Female Custodes thing as an easy way to enter into the space because it was a popular topic, and I had a genuine opinion about it. Like, everything I said, I meant every single word. I didn't just make a video just to get on something. Like, I meant everything I said, and I stand by every word I've said. Those are my genuine feelings and opinions, and it is something that's been bugging me for a very long time, and it's not limited to just the Warhammer 40K universe. As I've stated, it goes all across, we'll call nerd culture and media in general. Like, they're infecting everything. Everything's politics. So for him to call me a grifter, I was just like, like, should let it go. But here you go. I mean, like, this is me painting. Like, take it or leave it. I don't really know how to make painting interesting. Like, how do you... I've seen other channels where they do tutorials and they break it up and they show this is this step, this is that step. And I think I would like to attempt to try to do that. But even that little tiny intro I did with the stop animation, the very rudimentary stop animation, and the voice changer little thingy I've got that's built into the phone, I mean, that took me an inordinate amount of time, and it sucked. I was just trying to be funny, so hopefully you got a good laugh out of it. But yeah, I mean, the point is like that took a long time. So if I was going to start doing stuff like that, I would need some help. Like, there's no way I could do that by myself. Painting's easy. I can just set up a camera and paint for hours and hours and hours, but how do you make that interesting? And I think much in the same way we're watching somebody work out for hours and hours and hours isn't that interesting. It's me having something to say that talks over that. So if you guys like this, because it does kind of show the process. So the process I'm doing with these my Terminators is a very, very simple 4-step process to get them ready for the tabletop. If you actually want to get them looking decent, we're not talking about professional quality here, but you want them to look good on the table. There's 4 steps that I do that I've got reasonably proficient with. The first step is obviously priming. Priming's easy. You hit them with black and then you spray some white over the top of them and give them that contrast. The second one is you paint everything, all the colors flat. So like a coloring book, you're not doing any highlighting or shading. You're just painting red is red, blue is blue. Your first good coats. The third step is to then add shading, and I use some kind of a wash, or depending on, I might use like a glaze, something that's going to give it some tone and darken the recesses. The fourth step is highlighting. I then go in with my lighter colors and I touch up the raised areas, which really makes the model pop out. And that's when I do the eyes, and I'll do the little flame effects. I'll add any decals, and that's that like final stage to get them ready. And then if you want, after that, you can then go in and spend all your like an inordinate amount of time doing your edge highlighting and get them, like if you want a nice real presentation, like a centerpiece type thing, that's when I would go in and touch it up and make it look really pretty. And sometimes I do some, like my Vulcan, I did that with him. Or if you want to add like glow effects to the hammer, I'll go in with a airbrush and I'll do, I'll make this thing glow and then add some lightning to it. But you don't need to do all that. If you like, I found that if I get groups of like six to 8, maybe 10 at the most, and I do them all at the same time in order, I can crank these out and they could look reasonably good in a couple of days. And that, it seems to be a system that's working for us. I would like to, once I get my Salamander's army finished and I start breaking into some of the really special models that I purchased, those I want to spend a little bit more time on, and it's learning for me. I'm still learning to master all of these, and this is I want to have some nice pieces that I can present. But for anybody that's just trying to get into the game, those 4 basic steps, they're kind of hard to mess up. You know what I mean? You don't really have to be that good of a painter to get something that looks decent for the table. So there's my grift. I don't know if that qualifies me as a true 40K fan. I also happen to be reasonably knowledgeable on the lore. I want a lot. There's guys, you could spend a lifetime reading 40K lore and still be a novice by some people's, you can really get lost. It's almost like, I wouldn't say it's as expansive as J.R.R. Tolkien's universe. Maybe, I don't know. It's up there. There's a lot of lore. But I really like the lore, and as you can see, that's why we all got so defensive when they shit all over it. I love playing the game. So what are the 3 things? There's people that just like the lore, and that's perfectly fine. They read the books, they watch the videos, and they think it's really cool. Maybe play the video games. Awesome. There's people that just like to paint the figurines. That's it. They don't care. They don't collect armies. They don't give a shit about the game. They just think it's really, really awesome to paint these bad boys. And I think that's really cool too, because they're not limited to just 40K. They tend to have expansive collections, and they're really, really awesome artwork. You just spend hours looking at that stuff. And then there's people that just play the game. They don't give a shit about the lore. They don't really care about painting other than to get them to where they look decent on the table. I think the rules say they have to have 3 colors in order to be legal. So your model has to have 3 different colors on it to be legal for the tabletop, if I'm not mistaken. And that's all they care about. I'm one of those guys, I just like all of it. And I try to do all of it. And I don't know. There you go. You want to know how bad things have gotten. when I got back into the hobby, it was, I don't know, what, a year or two ago, and I started painting the figurines, and I was listening to the lore on YouTube, and I was listening to audiobooks, and whatever. And my son and I started playing again, like I said, but we weren't really paying attention. And it wasn't until this Female Custodes thing, when Henry Cavill made that arrangement with Amazon, I kind of was like, there's no way Amazon's going to let Warhammer go unscathed. And I kind of knew this was going to happen, but what I didn't realize is how prevalent it already was, because I wasn't really paying attention to the forums. I didn't go on any of that stuff. And when I started looking at them, I was like, holy crap. The mere mention, so a lot of people jumped ship when this whole thing went down. They said, I'm done with Games Workshop. I'm not giving them another penny of my money. And they started looking at other places they could take their hobby. And there was one that's not even out yet. They're still making it. It's called Trench Crusade, and it's grim dark. And looks pretty cool, man. It's got some like dark religious undertones, and it's like religious people had spawned hell, and they're fighting each other in trenches. It's like, I mean, it's a really basic explanation of it, but basically demons versus religious people. We'll go in a World War I fantasy kind of steampunk meets World War I weapon era. Really cool aesthetic, dark, violent, ugly. Not a place for, the alphabet people, but I mean, I imagine when I say that, I don't mean like they shouldn't be able to play and enjoy the hobby. I mean, like, not a place you would think they'd want to insert like a pride parade. You know what I mean? Like, you think that would stay out of it, but no, just the mere mention of it by the people like us that were jumping ship, they immediately got on there and just started booting everybody that had a mildly conservative opinion off of the forums. And even just asking what's going on, you were getting booted. Like, they were, and it turns out like the forum moderator was super woke and they were happy to do it. But it kind of made me wonder. I'm like, and then the creators of the content were backing their moderators, which is the cool thing. It's cool to back the people that you've hired, but I think they were backing them without really looking at what they were doing. Because I'm thinking, if I'm creating an IP and I'm presenting it to the public, I want to get as many people on board as possible. And they're literally like getting rid of 2/3 of their existing customer base, or people that would be prospective paying customers, people that have jobs, people that have money to spend, and people that are into it. And they're getting rid of all of them for people that just want to be online and talk about politics and don't actually spend any money. I mean, we've seen the statistics. It's true. These people they spend hardly anything. They like to get online, and they like to belittle people, and they like to start fights, and they're super political. Now, I believe that they do, it's so funny. I get called a fascist, right? Which I'm the farthest thing from, incidentally. I'm a United States Marine. But I get called constantly a fascist by people who are clearly communists. And it's like, what? You represent the most evil and vile, ideology that's ever existed, and you're calling people Nazis. Like, it's funny too, if you want to just look at the death count, just of like the National Socialists, how many people they murdered, which was in the millions, and compare that to how many people the communists murdered, which is magnitudes. Oh my God! I think I want to say under Hitler, like there was 6 million Jewish people, and then there was a lot of Christians too, and ethnic cleansing, people of color, others. They were just getting rid, mostly Jewish people, of course. But when you compare that to what the communists did, which they also persecuted the Jews, incidentally, like really badly, and they starved millions and millions, and imprisoned millions more. They made a slave economy, and I look at what communism did, and every single regime across the board, we can go starting from like the 1900s to today, and it's just been the most oppressive evil that's ever been propagated. And to this day, the few that are actually under the communist flag are still oppressing and starving their people. And And you got these kids coming out of college, and they're like espousing this stuff like it's, you know, they got their Che Guevara shirts on, like, yeah, Viva la Revolution. It's like on your iPad, you know, you calling us privileged because of our skin color, and you just don't see the irony. It blows me away how little self-awareness these people have. You know, you're going to rail against capitalism on your $1,000 iPad or iPhone or whatever. You know, you're going to systematically destroy all these things that we enjoy and consume. And you don't even participate. You're just there. That's what communists, socialists do. They do not create anything. They just destroy the existing. It's a perpetual revolution where they enact change, and they're good at it. They destroy, and then after it's all been wiped out, what do they do from there? They have no idea. And it just falls into this tyranny, this oppressive, everyone's poor, and the rich are still at the top getting richer. And they're like, think about what their argument is. It's to dispossess people at the bottom of the hierarchy, and the evil top 1% keep getting richer off of your money, which, incidentally, I'm the one that's actually working and paying taxes, so we can talk about that, but whatever. And they think by eradicating that system and replacing it with this idea of utopia, it's going to somehow change that? Like, where in history has that happened? I got a little secret for you boys. Every single system of government and hierarchy, no matter if it's like a king and his fiefdom, a communist regime, the evil capitalists and corporations, the oligarchies, whatever, pick a system of government in any major population, and they had all of them dispossess the people at the bottom, and the top 1% get richer. It's called the Pareto distribution. And if you see it pop up in pretty much any hierarchy that exists, and I think it's a natural thing that occurs where people will separate themselves based on abilities and things of that nature, competency most of the time. So, you know, like, for example, if you get 100 plumbers, and you're going to find that there's like a top percentage, we'll say 20%, that are just go-getters. These guys work hard. They never take sick days. They do awesome work. You find that the amount of work they do equals the same amount of production that comes from the bottom 80%. That's called the Pareto distribution. And you see it in any hierarchical system. Like, a good example would be the NBA, National Basketball Association. Top 10 to 20% of all the players are going to score 80% of all the baskets. The bottom 80% are going to score 20%. You know what I mean? That's just the way it settles out, and that's natural because people have different competencies. Some have more drive, some have more ambition. The people with no ambition or no ability usually kind of stack up at the bottom, and unfortunately they tend to get left behind. That's the problem in any hierarchical system. And you know, conservatives, our problem is we want meritocracy, and we want these distributions to be based on competency. Unfortunately, where the left, you need the left. You got to have the left and the right for the system to work right, because the left cares more about people and the right cares more about things, we'll say. So we're the people that are minded towards production and making money, and we have that drive, where the left cares more about equality and all those, words they like to throw around these days. And if you don't have them working together, all these hierarchical systems will fail, because under the right, they tend to become tyrannical, and they leave it's survival of the fittest. If you're not good enough to keep up, you get left out. You don't have the left there to say, hey, no, we need to take care of the people at the bottom. Then it all falls apart. And then the flip side of that is that the left's running the hierarchical systems, and it's all freaking kumbaya and based on everybody gets an equal share. Well, the people that are doing all the work at the top get really damn sick of feeding the people at the bottom who don't have to do a darn thing, and they don't have to do anything to get an equal share. So how is that fair? And it falls apart. So you kind of need both to balance each other out. Does that make sense? It's like, what am I arguing for here? I'm arguing for the left and the right need to work together. Otherwise, the society fails. You know what I mean? There's a place for everybody. we used to talk to each other, and now all we do is hurl insults at each other, and there's no, we just don't want to hear it, you know. And I don't know, rightfully so. I mean, they have become quite insufferable, and I think we're due for a pendulum swing here really quickly, and they're not going to like it when that happens. Wow, this rant got really long. I apologize. All of this from just wanting to get back into gaming with my son. Think about that. And not being online for a while and not knowing the temperature of the water before I dip my toes back in. An everyday average Joe like myself just wanted to get back into tabletop gaming. And just like everything else, it's a shit show. Hey, if you made it this far, throw me a comment, make fun of some, pick a feature. I want to hear an insult. I got plenty. My face is all messed up. You know, just pick. I don't know. You guys are pretty good at it, so I want to hear something. I want to hear something funny. I gotta go to bed. I gotta work tomorrow. I'm making this video very late. I love you guys. I will see you on the battlefield.